Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Meet Me in the Center. My name is Andrew, the cat over there is Shadow, and if this is your first time coming across my channel, I suggest you quickly go and watch the part 1 introduction to my channel. It just kind of explains what my channel is all about. I will leave a description, I will leave a link for that in the description below. Today we're going to start a series of videos on the Earth, conservation, and global climate change. So before I get into this one, I will point out that I am no expert when it comes to this. I did, however, study geography for 3 years at university. It was a 4-year course. I never actually finished. Life circumstances kind of unfortunately got in the way at the time, and at the point where I could go back and finish, I decided to take a different path. But I do have a little bit of experience, and I also keep up with a lot of the research and scientific articles and studies that have been released all about this, because I like to stay in the know. It's a topic, the Earth, conservation, and global climate change is a topic that I'm really into, just naturally, and so I like to be kept up to date as to the latest information. So for this video, we're going to be talking about conservation. Does it need to exist? Doesn't it need to exist? And how we should conserve, as well as a couple of examples of conservation blunders. So in my opinion, it should exist, but it shouldn't exist to the extent that it does in most countries today. So I think really it should only exist in a few ways, because generally speaking, we tend to make way too many mistakes when it comes to the natural world. We don't really understand what we're doing, we just pretend to. I had a professor in one of my classes, and he gave a perfect summarization of what conservation is. And I am going to use his exact words, so forgive the expletive, but he basically said, conservation is people fucking up nature because we think we know best. And I think that sums it up perfectly. I can give you a couple of examples. There is a conservation area in Ontario, and the reason it's a conservation area is because geese, when they're migrating to and from the North Arctic, stop there every year, and so they decided to make this a conservation area so people could come and see the geese and just learn a little bit about the migratory path of these birds. Unfortunately, weeds started to grow all throughout the pond that they were staying at, and people were having a hard time seeing these geese. So the conservation group decided that they would go in and remove these weeds because, why not give the people a better view of the geese? Well, after they did that, for years afterwards, the geese stopped coming. And they learned that the weeds that they had removed were the only reason the geese were there in the first place. It's good cover for them to protect against predators. It's also a food source for them. And they completely removed it, so the geese stopped coming. There are way too many examples of things like this that we have done that completely destroy the balance of nature. An interesting one actually right now that's kind of in debate is what we should do about the African savanna, or the plains, African plains. Right now, it's commonly held that we should reduce the number of animals because there are too many of certain ones. But actually, all the scientific evidence points to the fact that animal populations should be at least 10 times higher than what they are right now. Back when the savanna was at its best, those populations were much larger than they are now. Now, some of that is hunting, some of that is urban encroach, some of that is culling herds to try and protect from disease and for other reasons. But basically what they found is that a lot of the hooved animals, the herd animals, cut into the ground and turn over the soil like a farmer would in his field. And as they're growing, their excrement is also added to that, and that gets turned over and added into the ground, which provides extra nutrients that the soil would otherwise not get if the herd's numbers were low like they are today. So there's a lot of debate. Should we do anything in Africa? Should we just leave it and let it be? Should we cull? Should we not cull? And in my opinion, honestly, I think at this point we've already affected the result, because we have, we've messed with it already. I think the best bet is to leave it where it is and just let it go from here. Nature always wants to find a balance. It always wants to be in equilibrium. There's a great example of this in Canada. I believe it's taught in high school I believe it's high school biology. Or maybe not biology, but in high school it's taught. And it's the example of the lynx and the rabbit. So if you imagine one ecosystem, there are a specific number of rabbit and a specific number of lynx. And so if the rabbit numbers get too high, that allows the lynx numbers to then get higher because there are more rabbits for the lynx to eat. But if the rabbit numbers get too high, they can get to a point where there isn't enough food to feed all of the animals, and they start to starve and die off. Also, because of higher numbers, you increase the risk of disease and other factors that would cause them to die. Now, if there are too many lynx, they start dying off because they'll eat most of the rabbit, and then those who can't catch rabbit will die of hunger. And so there's always a natural number, which is like equilibrium, where nature will want to balance itself. So if like the rabbit numbers get too high, the lynx numbers will get too high like this behind it. The rabbit numbers will crash because of too many lynx, because of disease, because of hunger, and they'll start to raise, and the lynx will crash because there aren't enough rabbits, and then they'll start to raise back, and they try to get back to that equilibrium point. And nature does that naturally. So because of that, in my opinion, there are only a few ways in which we should really be conserving nature. First of all, and I'm going to be talking about this more in detail in the next video, is to eliminate invasive species. We're not very good at it, but we need to try to reduce the risk of invasive species being introduced and eliminate them if at all possible. The other way is to designate natural areas and parks that are free of earth stripping industries, so like logging, mining, for instance, that would destroy that natural ecosystem. That being said, I don't think you should go absolutely crazy in that aspect, because we do need to log, we need to mine, we need to be able to get those resources. So again, like the earth, we need to find a natural balance. Now, I don't know what that number is. Is it 50-50 protected area and 50% where we can do whatever we need to do? I don't know. I don't know if it's 75-25. I haven't really figured out what a great balance number would be, but I know that there needs to be some sort of balance. All right, so that is the first video in this series all about Earth conservation and global climate change. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you want, and leave a comment. If not, hey, that's completely up to you, no worries. As I say, the next video should be dropping soon, so I will see you there. All right, see you then.